Okay, so today I'm basically just taking you through the process of how I make some of my vector mockups. Today I'm making a pair of mesh shorts. So I sped this up because I probably spent an hour doing this, which is ridiculous. Mostly just me going back and forth and changing a bunch of things. But what you see here is I'm using a bunch of shapes and just using the alignment features that are in Adobe Illustrator just so that I can basically make sure that my shorts are equal on both sides. A lot of times what I end up doing is I'll just like freehand it and then I'll pick the side that looks best. I'll cut it in half and I'll just duplicate and connect. But I don't want to do that, so I'm using the squares and rectangles and stuff like that to kind of line up where I want the leg holes to be, where I want the center of the shorts, etc. So that's just me doing that here, just kind of watching that process unfold. Uh, Not a whole lot. Mostly just me using the pen tool and then editing the shape that I've already created. And you'll see me kind of go back to and make some different changes as well as I'm doing it. But yeah, using those rectangles and squares and lines just helps me make sure that everything is aligned. Here we go. I was like, oh, do I want to be shorter? Like, no, they start to look funny, shorter. It's just me making the seam. I'm applying a stroke to it so it looks like thread or like it's been sewn there. And I'm doing that for the edge of the shorts too, because a lot of time mesh shorts they don't have like, it's just kind of a folded over and sewn seam straight to the point. But that is definitely a detail that you do see on the shorts. Also, I'm really just fiddling around right here, making the waistband, because a lot of times when they do the seams, it kind of has like a bunch of fabric in the middle where they put the seams a little, wider, farther apart. So I'm just kind of trying to replicate that look here. So this is going to take me a little minute to kind of get right because I didn't really like the way that original.
Where the top looks like round at the top of the corners originally. But yeah, I'm really just talking to get to this part. This part is kind of boring. Yep, yep, yep. Blah, 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 blah. La, 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 la. I'm really fooling around with it too, because like, I want to put seams in some of these spots, but, it doesn't quite look right. You'll even see, like, towards the end of the video, too, I'm going to end up, like, basically removing one of those, like, the basically thing that I'm making right now, which is, like, I'm making a in-between spot for separation, and then I'm going to make another one just to add seam to it, but I'm going to end up coming back and removing it altogether. So it's just, sorry, me just fooling around with it. I'm going to end up speeding up this entire part because it's boring. But this is the basic setup of the shorts, right? The shorts are done. I'm obviously just still fooling around with it, making some basic changes here. Where are we at? Let's see how far along we are. Jeez. Looks like we have some ways to go.
But yeah, we're still editing. So now I just duplicated the shorts so that I could create a background for it and just to also add that mesh detailing on there. Now, what I'm about to do is I used to have a mesh pattern that I made, but looks like I can't find it. It's not there, whatever, or I don't know where to look. Right now, I'm also looking for another pair of shorts that I made because I guess I'm being lazy. It's really not that hard to make a pattern. So here I am about to make the pattern. Just make a bunch of little circle ellipses, right? So I can make that pattern because you know how the mesh shorts usually have the holes in them. I'm just going to duplicate it and line it up there. And then you see here it lets you adjust it, but they're adjusting individually. I don't want that. So I'm going to make sure that they're lined up properly and grouped together well. And then I'm going to go ahead and group the whole thing together, right? And then turn it into a pattern. And then it lets me adjust those whole rows a lot better. And then here we go. It's super dark right here, so I'm just going to change the transparency on that. And then make sure that this layer is at the top because you still want that detailing to show, on top of the color of the shorts, right? And it seems like I'm having some brain farts here because I'm like pausing for a second. Lord knows, probably playing with my phone. But I'm also doing that same detailing for the, for the waist. And I'm just adding an extra uh, thread seam line there because it just looks more authentic to me. I mean, obviously it's just a vector mock-up. I'm not putting a whole lot of realistic detail into it as far as like actually drawing it and like making those folds and stuff like that. But I'm trying to make it look as realistic as possible. Right now here I'm making a pocket. It's coming out kind of ugly. I feel like I should be able to just like use the warp feature and just kind of arc, like make it into an arc, but uh, I'm not super enthusiastic about these results. Don't like them. No, just it's just not quite right. I really just didn't want to do it the way that I typically do it, which is just add additional points to it and just kind of use the pen tool and fiddle around. But nope, it wasn't working. So here we are, back at square one of making the edits, just trying to get it fairly even. You know, of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty close. I think that looks good when you zoom it out. It really looks like a pocket to me. Now, we just want to make that outer edge of the pocket too, just to give it a more authentic look. I think it looks cool. Just make it a little smaller. Try to line them up, make sure they're centered pretty well. They're not. Let's just use the centering tool, see what happens. Okay, it centers at the top, not the bottom, so we gotta zoom in to get it as close as possible. Now, I'm just gonna select those and group them together, and then turn them into like one shape. So I'm just combining them by going to Pathfinder, connecting them, then I duplicate it and put it on the other side, flip it, so that we have the two pockets, right? So we're basically good to go. The shorts are mostly done. Um, I like to add strings to my shorts. I'm also just making making background layers for the waist because the waist is a separate part from the background of the shorts. So this is just a bunch of detail, busy work, just because, I have a lot of these files up for sale and I want to make them as easy to use as possible. I don't want you to have to come in here and make new parts to make things work. It would defeat the purpose of purchasing it, right? So I'm just making those parts. And of course, you can use this too to make your own. Um, YouTube does have a feature that allows you to like slow down the video. I sped it up because it was super long, and I don't think anybody has the attention span these days to watch an hour worth of video, especially since it's not super technical. I just wanted to take you through the process. Any parts that you need to actually see where I went, you can just pause it, or like I said, make it slower. But yeah, and I'm just going back in and renaming those layers because it just makes things easier. Like when people want to use a file, they want to go back and recolor certain elements like the background and stuff. It also makes it easier for me because it is such a pain. Usually, if I don't name my layers, I'm just going back through here and fishing around, trying to select things to figure out what is what because it just say line and compound shape or whatever the hell. It just says a bunch of stuff. I don't know what the hell it is. So I'm just going back here, fixing things, making some of these elements transparent. Like I made that waist part transparent because I still want it to be darker than the rest of the shorts, but I still want to have a similar color when you go in to make those edits just to, like I said, add that realistic element to it. And obviously, like I said, it's a flat vector mockup. It's not going to be hyper realistic, but it gives you a very good idea of what it looks like when it comes down to designing. Now right here, I'm just adding the holes for the strings. I like to add drawstrings to my shorts because I think it looks dope. I'm a big fan of Fear of God shorts. I like the kind of the short drop crotch look and I like the long strings still. Don't know if this stuff's going out of style, but I still enjoy it and I mostly wear this stuff because it's cozy as hell. So just making that drawstring. I'm just literally making a little rectangle rounding the corners. I'm going to add like another little rectangle at the end to kind of replicate like the little fold that is usually on the end there. Then I'm going to take those two shapes and combine them. Now we're just going to make this sideways a little bit, fit it up there. We're going to eventually, there we go, duplicate it, and then mirror it, and then there we go. I'm just going here and just kind of move that down a little bit because it's way too close to the top. And I wanted to change the holes to kind of give them like an inside shadow look, but it's such a small detail. It's really not worth it, so I end up not doing it. Sometimes I just fool around with the settings and see. There's a lot I don't know about Adobe Illustrator. I'm essentially a beginner, but this is where I am. This is what we have. Cool, just playing around with the colors. But yeah, it's making those pockets a little bit more transparent too, so that they still end up with the same color of the shorts, but just darker. Put a little title here because it looks good for the video and for my posts when I put it up on Etsy. Now, let's go ahead and like put something on here. So my brand is called Oasis, and that is for the graphics, not necessarily a clothing brand. It's just what I call my Etsy shop. It's Oasis Digital Graphics, and it's the same name as the page, as the YouTube channel, whatever. Anyway, so we're just putting that Oasis in there. We put it behind the string, so we just had to move the layer down a bit. Let's use green. I like to use pink a lot, and I feel like blue and red are popular. But so let's throw some green in there. I don't know why I always use 23. I mean, I know why I always use 23, but gonna have to. I should probably use my own jersey number. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so I just made the 23 and I duplicated it. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to make one of them green, and then the other one I'm just going to give it a very thick stroke and layer them on top of each other, just so it looks like it has a black outline. Sometimes you see me fooling around and I make these things more difficult than they need to be. But anyway, let's put it down here and center them. Make sure they're aligned. Zoom in, look, and make sure it's okay. Group it together. Uh, I don't want it over there. Oh crap. Let's move it. Why does it keep doing that? There we go. Let's move it over there. Let's add some other kind of detail on here. Um, let's see what I have already in the library. Butterflies. Let's add some butterflies. Jeez, this file is huge. I'm just going to turn that file into a vector and expand it, then ungroup it. Delete that background. I'm going to delete most of the butterflies. Oh, I like the way that one at the top came out. So let's just try and use that one. Ugh, I hate it when I'm having issues with the color. So let's just move it up here and see what it looks like. No, I don't want to put it on there. Why won't it let me change the color? Nope, not working. Yep, this should work. There we go. I'll just pick some miscellaneous green color for now, I guess. What can we do with this? Let me just stick this back here. Let's do something typical. Put it on the crotch area. Nice and bold right there. You go ahead and layer it, like place it behind the brand name layer. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use those other butterflies down there, so yeah. Probably need to go back and get rid of those. They're probably still sitting in the file. Purple, blue, gray. It's hard to lose with gray, right? Okay, cool. Wow, look at that. Let's make that, match the side of the shorts better. How it would normally naturally be. Let's change the background here. Pink, no, this doesn't look good. Let's pick another color. I don't know what color to pick. Blue, green, dark green. That's too matchy. Yellow. Yellow could have been fire. I'll move past. Oh, red. Terrible. It was already gray. Although gray would work. Let's go with blue. Purple? Okay, I guess I went with purple. There we go. Super dark royal purple and green. Oh well, not the most fire design, but you see how it all works. Voila, magic. All done.